Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clue the Movie Podcast, where we break down the 1985 cult classic movie Clue, one glorious minute at a time. My name is the boat, Brad Gilmore. As always, I am joined by the General, Jeff Smith, for our final episode of Clue the Movie Podcast. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch. I threw a Twitch channel out there. Just so we're live.
Whoa, okay.
We're live everywhere that we can be. Jeff, how are you?
I am well. Here we are. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
You can't believe it?
I can't believe it. I can't believe
it.
No, I didn't think. No way. I don't really finish a lot of things I start, so this is quite the accomplishment. I was for certain something, a car accident or something, because I am in, it's appropriate enough, I am in New England right now, and it was a very rainy day today. And I was racing through the streets of Boston to get to this very seat to do the final episode. And I thought, something. The universe is not going to let it happen. There'll be I'm not even going to jinx it anymore, but here we are.
This is like, man.
Not even 98, because we had some extras peppered throughout the last 2 years. We had Leslie Ann Warren on an episode. We had Jeffrey Kramer. We had ones where scheduling or illness made you get very creative with some of yours. I saw, though, on YouTube, one of our highest, viewed was the Back to the Future podcast episode, actually. Appropriately called When Brad Met Jeff. That one has a bit, because I did go back today on my treacherous drive home and listened to at least the beginning of the very first one, which you started with the trailer. It opened with the trailer.
Yes.
And then there was no intro, as we heard just now. That I don't know when that was developed, but it wasn't there yet. And then as I listened, I thought, this show's pretty good. I think I'm going to keep listening. So I'm a new Clue Movie Podcast listener as of today. I'm going to start today after this. Listen all the way through.
Are you saying that you're a Nuvian Cluvian?
I'm a Nuvian of the Cluvians.
Well, look at that, man. Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. First off, here's the thing we got to do before we even get into what was just a glorious final minute.
Before we get into that minute, I'm so glad that was said, because that was one of the suggestions of a Clue Movie Podcast t-shirt. Before we get into that minute,
we got to do something. We got to do some other things first. I got to shout out everybody who's in our live chat right now. Okay. I got to shout out to Kevin Skinninger, which is an awesome name. He said, hello, every inch of my body is ready. Well, how many? Never mind. Let me not go there. Matthew Ryan says, is this the right address to meet Mr. Body? Taylor Namaho says, what up, people? We also have Danielle Brennan that says, sniff, sniff.
What is Danielle doing? I hope that's a sad sound
That's
opposed to, I mean, it could be 80s.
Ben Ripley's in the building. Is everything ready, Mrs. Ho? I don't know.
Ben Ripley.
We'll have to see. We have another one here. Mara Joy says a podcast will be ready at 5 p.m. Look at that.
Everybody came with their Clue quotes.
Yeah, we have another one. This is from D Legend 91. Shake, rattle, and roll. You must do them all. You know what I mean? In that order, no less. Yeah. So shout out to everybody who's watching us right now, and also Caleb Blade the Geek.
Blade the Geek.
So happy I can make it. You guys look great.
I know who Caleb Blade the Geek is too. Very nice.
He said we look great. Yeah, this might be the first time some people are seeing us. Right?
Wow.
Sorry.
There's Brad Gilmore, everybody. That's what you came to see.
In a hat, no less.
Look at it. Look at this guy.
Repping the home team. And also Stacy Crace says, could I interest anyone in fruit or dessert? To which I said, what about coffee or brandy? Jeff, obviously a lot to get into, but one more thing here from our ratings and reviews on the Apple. This one is 5 stars. Here's the title. Are you ready for the title?
Yes.
Excellent. Now already it's a high bar. It's a super high bar, but it says excellent.
Which I appreciate, but that is a good title because usually the titles of our reviews could be taken
either way.
Exactly. So excellent, unless it's excellent. I'm going to say it's going to be a good one.
5 stars, excellent. Then the first word, and by the way, this is from Al Old Ham Stylist.
It's the name I was going to take.
I don't know what that one means, but this is what he says. Excellent. And then the next adjective in the first word of his review, amazing, with an exclamation point.
That's more like it. Okay.
There we go. He says, these two gentlemen found one another and created an awesome podcast for all of us Cluvians. I prefer the term Clunatics, but it's been decided. Look at that. We're getting suggestions even in the last episode. We love it.
That's okay.
Here we go. I almost think that you wrote this. Their tangents are top notch, and the banter between the two is refreshing and organic as can be expected. I love wrestling bits, and I don't even like wrestling. Keep up the great work, gentlemen, and I will see you both when Pick 6 starts. Also, am I the only one who doesn't like the flames on the side of my face bit? Probably. Wow, not a fan of flames on the side of my face.
That's okay.
What is that?
No, I did not write that. That's good. What does that mean, that this person doesn't like flames? Just doesn't. That's okay. You know what? When I've seen Clue on the big screen, people kind of titter to themselves when that comes on because it's the famous line, but no one really falls in their seats laughing. Other things definitely get that upon repeat viewing, but that's okay. It doesn't have to like everything. That's the beauty of Clue. It's got something for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's been so great about the movie. And one of the things that we said from the get-go is how stylistically different the comedy is and how you can kind of find a joke that might resonate with anybody at any level that you find them at, whether it's a poop joke or a Red Scare joke or J. Edgar Hoover joke.
Well, we were just talking a few weeks ago about how the Hoover is a vacuum cleanup joke is not a home run.
No, not a good joke at all, actually.
It's a foul tip into the catcher's mitt, to continue the metaphor, I would say.
I would agree with that. You have a Dodgers hat on, which, we're all judging you for. But yeah, no, that's the great thing about Clue. Now, in this final minute, nothing really happens. It's just a credit.
It does if you're one of the people named, if you're one of the writers of Shaboom, if you were someone that's been to the Warner's re-recording studio, then a lot is happening. But as far as plot and story and jokes, no, there's not a post-credit scene. What would the post-credit scene be, though, if it were
Oh,
that
that's a
would be able to
great
tie into all of them?
that's a great question.
What's
You
the
know,
post-credit scene?
oh, well, no, so we know Mr. Body's dead for sure, right? Because like the best thing would be he
Well,
just gets
he
up and
gets
walks
up
out.
and just goes, "Well, that was brutal." And he's out.
Oh, for all our Seinfeld fans, man.
That's
That
deep
was
cut. But
brutal.
we did reveal a few weeks ago. I think that's a pretty delayed callback. That's like a fruit of dessert callback right there.
Right. Yes.
Been
No,
waiting
that's
for
actually
that one.
pretty good. No, you know what? Kevin Skinninger actually has a good idea. The poop joke
Oh,
post-credit scene or something with the dogs. But here, let's add on top of this. Credits close, boom. We see Mr. Body laying there, kind of with the overhead shot. And
yeah.
then his eyes do this where they open up. He
Uh,
gets up, adjusts his coat, says, "Well, that was one hell of a party." Walks
yeah.
out the front door, steps in poop,
Right.
and goes,
Did you picture the eyes of Doc Brown when he gets up after?
"Great Scott!" Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Going back to the dogs is a wonderful thing because, as far as anybody knows that has seen the three endings of Clue, the dogs do not return after Mr. Body tries to get out. But if you do know that they originally had a fourth ending
Yes.
for Clue, that's when the dogs did reappear. And that's the now lost to history, as far as we know, fourth ending, where it was Wadsworth all along that was the killer. And that he once he got into the police car to escape, the dogs somehow got into the back of the car, or they were police dogs. Not sure. Maybe not the same dogs. Maybe just other dogs.
Probably not the
Maybe
same.
dogs don't like him. He's
Mhm.
got a dog thing. Well, dogs are excellent judges of people, and the dogs kind of devour Wadsworth as he drives down the street.
That's the end. That's the whole ending. He just
Yeah,
gets
well, I
eaten.
mean, that's how Wadsworth gets his comeuppance, which is different than everybody else. There's definitely it's on his way back down the driveway, I guess.
So I always wondered if this, because I want to give a shout out to Colin Amner who sent this over. Actually, right when I was getting ready for my screening of Joker 2, Folie à deux. I
Mm.
don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's how I read it in my head.
I don't think anyone has said it right.
Right?
I
Like,
think
is it a
that's
folly?
the jokes on us.
Oh, look at that. Have you seen it?
Uh-uh.
Are you
No,
going to?
I have not heard good things.
Yeah, it's
You like
okay.
everything. You like everything. So for you
I
to
do like
just
a lot.
say it's okay, I was curious because I saw that you saw it. No, I instead went and saw Saturday Night,
How was
the
that?
Saturday Night Live movie. I liked it a lot.
How's the guy who
I
plays
enjoyed
Chevy?
it.
Is he good?
He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some good Chevy moments.
Look at that.
I would say of the people playing the cast members, the gentleman. I wish I knew all their names. The gentleman playing Garrett Morris is probably most spot on. He's really good. The guy playing Dan Aykroyd has some very good Dan Aykroyd moments, and the Chevy Chase is very good too.
Look at that. I'm glad to know. I've been meaning to
Yeah,
check that one out. I will say this about the Joker because it's topical, and I did see it.
it
And by
is
the way,
topical at the
I don't know
moment.
if you saw, I am a film critic. Okay. I'm in the
Yes,
Critics
certified.
Choice Association, so I have voting
Yes,
power now.
he likes
Um,
everything. Everybody, be prepared to see Brad Gilmore on a lot of poster ads.
you know what? I hope so. I don't
Yeah,
want to be that. I don't want. I do. Here's my thing. I think from being, and you might see this as well. Like when you know how hard it is to make anything, you
yeah,
automatically appreciate the fact that they got it to that moment for me immediately. Like, just
absolutely.
the fact that they got this movie in front of me, I was like, "Oh, this is incredible.
Yeah,
How did they pull this off?" So I have
sure.
somewhat of a reverence for the filmmaking and really creative process in general that you start off high with me, and then it chips away. You know what I mean? I
You
start off
go
high.
in.
Yeah, it starts off
Oh,
high, then it
you
chips
go
away.
in like really like I'm rooting for you all,
Mhm.
and You're like a casting agent that wants the perfect actor to walk in the door, and then they start performing, and it's not what you want. You're like, oh,
Right.
you're more disappointed in them.
Right. Yeah. So I will say about the Joker, it is not as bad as people say it is, but it is not. It's not great,
Okay.
But
You're
here's the
kind of
thing.
like me though. I very rarely say, "Oh, that movie's bad." Oh, that movie's terrible. I usually say, "It wasn't for me."
Well, that's like very polite. That's like the it's
Yeah,
not
I'm very
it's
polite.
you, it's
I'm very
me
polite.
breakup.
Yeah,
But for me,
no,
for,
I'm very polite.
for me, it was like the acting was so top notch. I mean, Joaquin was great. Lady Gaga was great in the role in which she was given. It seemed like it was cut down a little bit. But the story was just a bit disjointed. That's all. It was a little all over the place, but it looks like it's going to be one of the all-time bombs from what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Up there with Megalopolis, which
Ooh,
is
it's a bad
bad
weekend
company.
for cinephiles.
It is.
Go see Saturday night.
But yeah, so good. I had a point in this. Oh yeah, Colin Amner is the
Colin,
one who
yeah.
messaged me right before the movie started, and he's the one who said, "Check this out. Juniper needs to create some pulp stories for these. Are you going to talk about the lost ending where Wadsworth gets his comeuppance
Okay.
and the dog gets a tasty butler treat?" Colin from the UK, listening from the very beginning of Very Sad, is coming to an end. So he shared this mystery magazine with me. Have you seen this?
Oh yes, that is Stephen Andrade. That is the name of that artist.
And then what do you know about this? Do you know anything about it? Is this just a
Yes,
piece of art?
he did that, and he's done one for every character. And they're super awesome. He did it for the gallery 1988, which is a pop culture gallery in LA. They did a whole Clue show, and he has ones for Mr. Green. He has one for basically everybody, and they're awesome. But that one that you showed is a picture of Wadsworth, and it's fantastic. And if you go to the every once in a while, if somebody posts something about that, when someone discovers it, much like yourself, I'll post something on the Clue documentary Instagram. So if you go to Clue documentary on Instagram, you will, and scroll around, you will see all of them at some point. And actually, I interviewed the artist after the Clue documentary was done for another documentary that I'm kind of collecting footage for about just 80s and 90s movies, because he does artwork for all kinds of things. He was in the middle of doing something for Beetlejuice when I went to his Massachusetts home about a year ago and interviewed him. But of course, we talked about Clue because he did this whole series on Clue, and they are excellent.
Look
But yeah,
at that. I had no idea.
his thing is he does a lot of pulp style artworks, and that one is definitely pulp style. So yeah, that'd be a cool series if somebody really did it.
Well, yeah, no, that'd be awesome. So he has said we should have Juniper come up with a pulp series for Clue the movie. So we will have Juniper show up here toward the end of the program to do that. So just get ready, because we couldn't have an episode without having Juniper on, our
No,
AI
and she
co-host.
shows up perfect timing when like we run out of stuff to say. It's like, all right, go to.
That's kind of what
AI.
happens.
Yeah.
Now, this is the other thing I want to encourage people to do, because we're gonna just kind of celebrate Clue here on our final episode live on all the socials, as you put it, Jeff. Throw in any comments you want to say about the show, about the movie, questions you might have about the movie, or for either one of us in general. We would love to answer all of those. Right now, Jeff, what I want to go to is we have some people already chatting in their idea for a post-credit scene. So if you don't mind,
Cool.
I want to go ahead and read a few of these. So this is from Danielle Brennan. Someone vacuuming with a Hoover.
Okay, then the joke pays off.
Then the joke does pay off. So what do I'm going to right now, as far as ideas go, we're starting with this one. So this is right now the winner for me so far. I mean, we're going to go through it, but so far this is the winner. I like the idea of having a callback for the joke.
Who is the someone?
Oh, who is the someone?
Yeah, maybe one of the police officers that
Wait a
came
minute.
in cleaning up the crime scene. Or, oh wait.
I'm raising my hand. Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
What if it's the actual murderer with black gloves? Like it slowly pans up.
There was someone else in the house.
We see just black gloves holding it and vacuuming.
Yeah.
And then before it gets to the face, we get about right here to the chinny chin. Cuts.
No, it was Brahms. It was the boy living in the walls.
Wouldn't that be interesting? I
Yes.
kind of now I'm kind of talked myself into that one. Kevin Skinninger says the poop joke post credit scene or something with
Yeah,
the dogs.
for
I
sure.
like the idea of it
I
coming
like
back
the
to
the poop bookend. It's the poop end, if you will. Yes.
the pooping.
Poop end.
Susan Knudsen, I think it's how you say the last name. I'm from the South. You have to forgive me. I just found out today that it was comeuppance and not come
Oh,
up ins. So forgive me.
sounds dirty when you say it.
But
Suzanne.
Suzanne says Mr. Green
That's
walking into his house and giving his wife a kiss.
who's
Not
his
bad.
wife? His wife is the murderer.
Well, no, it's just I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Oh, his house.
His
I
house.
see.
It was gonna be
I
his
see. We go all the way to Mr. Green's house, if that is Mr. Green,
if that is Mr. Green.
and he gives his wife a kiss.
It would be kind of funny of him walking in and just like
Yeah,
taking off his, whatever
right.
clothes and getting in bed. Hey, honey,
Or
I'm home.
he goes home and kisses his husband.
Whoa, there you go.
He has no shame.
He has no shame, and you know what? I
He
mean,
was
he
he
could
was
lean
okay
into it.
all along. Yeah.
All right, this is from Ben Ripley, so you know this is gonna be great.
Good old Ben. Here we go. I know he's got
Post
something.
post credit scene could be someone writing new invitations, a gloved hand, pan up. It's Wadsworth, miraculously above and looking
Alive.
devilishly mischievous.
I think
Well,
he
first of all,
meant alive. Little typo. That's okay. Ben's got a lot of ideas and he's typing
oh, I
fast.
thought it said above. Okay, miraculously alive
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
looking devilishly mischievous. Mischievous. What do you think of that one?
I think your pronunciations are on point today. Yeah, absolutely. It's because now you would have to the post credits would have to lead into the inevitable sequel. So Wadsworth alive and says, "I'll find some new." I don't know why he's Kermit the Frog all of a sudden, but
It's
I'll find some new ones.
it's a pretty good impression.
Hey,
I can tell you've worked on that one.
yeah,
Danielle Brennan says the fourth inning should be the post credit.
yeah,
Not mad
that
at it.
works.
Not mad
It's
at it.
already
That's
there.
pretty good.
Already there.
Ben says alive, obviously.
Thank you.
Danielle
OMG.
Brennan. Oh, Danielle Brennan said, I just had an idea. You guys should have clipped get on with it when you go off on tangents. And then get on with it button needs to be hit. Oh, get on
Where
with
was
it.
this idea 99 episodes ago?
It would have been nice.
We just
Josh
needed
Hurley.
somebody to say get on with it, but then we'd have no show.
This is
That would be
Josh
good.
Hurley on X. Post-credit scene title card, The Real Mr. Green. The real Mr. Green is sitting in cuffs in an interrogation room. He's next to the chief, and the chief hands him a coffee, but accidentally topples it all over Mr. Green. The chief pauses and says, sorry, I guess I'm a little accident prone. Green slowly turns his head, rolls his eyes, and shakes his head. Blackout.
Blackout. And then a bunch of coffee and green emojis. I like that. I like
That's
that you
pretty
can
good.
like break the fourth wall and look over and just like I
That's pretty good, actually.
like
You
it.
know,
I like it.
I
Little
like that
accident
one.
pro.
And then John Hatch. What's up, John Hatch? You know,
John Hatch, author.
John Hatch is in the building. The author of
Yes.
the go-to book about
What do you
Clue. What do you mean murder?
Murder.
The making of a cult classic. John Hatch. One of the what you know what? We actually and I saw Laker Jim was in the chat here a minute ago. Let me
Oh,
give a shout out to Laker Jim here. I
yes.
saw it pop in here. There he goes.
There he is.
Podcast should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable, but not this one. Here.
That's Laker Jim quote.
Love Laker Jim. But let's
Laker
go to
Jim
John
and
Hatch.
John Hatch, frequent guests, multiple
crazy.
times.
This is
Yeah.
crazy. John Hatch said, how about a nod to the fourth inning? Mrs. Peacock and Professor Plum get out of their cars in a remote area. She says they fell for it and they embrace and kiss.
Yeah.
What?
It's you and me, honey bunch. I like it, and it's appropriate because to elaborate on what the fourth inning was before
Yeah, go for
Wadsworth reveals that he is the killer, he does try to pin it on Peacock and Plum. He says, we have two killers. It's those two working together, and it's Plum that says the gun is missing. The gun is missing. Gentlemen, check your pockets. I can't do it like you do, but and then
Gentlemen, turn out your pockets.
Turn out your pockets.
Ladies,
No!
turn out your pusses. Whatever he says. I can't think of it either.
You got it. It's been
You
a
know what I mean?
long podcast.
It's been a long
So
time.
yeah, so I like that. I like that Plum and Peacock were together all along, and that was Peacock just acting when she had to act disgusted when he said it's you and me, honey bunch. And there's a pulp episode for sure.
Oh, how pulpy are you
Because
gonna
that's
get though?
another very pulpy, another like natural born killers, Bonnie and Clyde on the run. It always
Do
is
you like
Plum.
natural
Why do
born
we always
killers?
put Plum? Uh yeah.
Why'd you
Yeah.
hesitate?
I think I liked it more when I saw it, and
Mm.
it's a little excessive now in my old
Are
age. I
you
think I
an
watch it
Oliver
now.
Stone fan in general? Like, do you like his films?
Yes, yes, but my favorite film of his is Talk Radio, which is not
Oh
a
yeah, good one.
normal choice.
Yeah, that's not one that you
And
normally hear.
JFK.
Mine's JFK.
Yeah.
You know, mine's definitely JFK. That's my favorite. I've always enjoyed that one, and he's got other ones that are interesting. His actually
But
movie
Natural Born
W is
Killers.
pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah,
Natural Born Killers, now I just watch it, I go, you can relax. Like,
well, because
okay.
it's a
It's just a bit
Tarantino
much.
script.
Right.
That Tarantino does not love the movie,
No.
right?
Because I think Tarantino likes his characters, even the ones that do terrible things. And in the very first scene of Natural Born Killers, where you meet the people that dine, or you meet Mickey and Mallory, they're all just really gross. I mean, he makes Rodney Dangerfield hateable in this movie. And I think that's the difference between Tarantino, I think he likes all his characters. And this movie feels like it doesn't like its characters. They're
We're
all
not supposed to
terrible
like.
people you're supposed to hate.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. And you know what though? That I kind of get Natural Born Killer vibes from the Joker movie.
Oh,
Little Natural Born Killer vibes.
I see.
You know.
You tell Mickey and Mallory Knots did it.
Yeah, I love your Southern accent. You spent
Uh,
a lot of time now here in the South.
I did spend a weekend with, with the Gilmores.
You did, man.
Yes.
Now let me ask you this: how do you think Clue ranks as? Because we started this show during the month of October in 2022.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's
it.
2024. How do you think Clue the movie ranks as far as a Halloween film? Do you think that it is it appropriate to throw that one in the rotation?
I do. It's an alternative Halloween movie. It's for people that
Explain.
don't like horror movies.
Mm.
So it's kind of like how Hocus Pocus has become a very popular Halloween movie now. So it doesn't take place at Halloween like Hocus Pocus does, but it has murder in a funny kind of silly way. So I think it ends up on a lot of lists for if you don't want something terribly scary. This has murder and a couple scenes that are a little scary. And every time someone's about to get bopped in the head, it gets a little spooky.
Yeah.
So I would say yes. It's not a Halloween movie, but it's appropriate to watch during Halloween.
It's appropriate to watch during Halloween. I think just because of the haunted mansion vibe.
Yeah,
Even though it's not haunted,
sure.
but it's a vibe of a haunted mansion.
The secret passages and
The
whatnot.
aesthetics.
We actually got a message on one of the socials that said, "This might be too late, but can you explain the secret passages? I don't know how I don't understand how they work." No, I don't either. So
it's because it's a secret. What do you mean?
It's a secret passage. If they wanted you to know, it would be a everybody knows passage.
I mean, what do you mean? It's a secret.
Words.
A secret's supposed to be kept quiet.
No,
you don't tell the secret.
Right.
Hey, whoa, real quick. Before we continue on with this podcast, I was in Atlanta, Georgia 2 days ago. And I land in Atlanta. And I said, you know what? I'm going to rent a car to get around town. So I rented the car the night prior on the Friday afternoon. And I said, you know what? I was looking, this is on Budget Rent-A-Car. Shout out to Budget. Not really. I was on Budget Rent-A-Car and they're like, hey, you can get an economy car for $79 for the day. Or you can get a truck for $70 for the day. And I said, well, I drive a truck because I live in Texas and it's the law.
Yeah, you have to.
And so I wanted to bring that into Georgia. Okay, so I make the truck reservation. I don't know. Have you ever been to Atlanta?
No.
Have you? So you've never been to the Atlanta airport. If anybody in the chat has been in the
Maybe.
Atlanta,
I
if
don't.
anybody
Maybe the
in the
airport.
chat has been in the Atlanta airport, drop an ATL for me in the chat, because if you've been, you understand this is, I thought Bush Intercontinental, where you landed here in Houston, was a big airport. No.
Yeah.
I thought
No.
LAX was a big airport. No.
Hmm.
ATL, the Atlanta airport, is so large and so massive, and I'm trying to navigate to it. So this is literally what you had to do. You have to get off the plane. You have to find a little subway that's going to take you to the ground transport baggage claim. Once you get to ground transport baggage claim, you then got to walk up an escalator that takes you up 4 floors to then get onto a sky rail that will take you to the rental car facility. Okay. And you got to walk this whole thing. So from the time I get off the plane to the sky rail to get to the budget rental car, it's about 25 minutes of just walking, which is a lot. You know, that's a lot of walking in an airport. And there's no moving walkways in the floors I was going to. So I get over to the budget rental car. I see, guess what? No line. I said, this is lovely. I'm going to walk right in.
Get my truck.
Get my truck. Prepaid for it. I even went on the app and filled in my driver's license information and insurance so I can make this quick. In and out. That's what I was trying to do. So I go up to the budget lady and I go, hey, last name Gilmore, first name Boat. Can you go ahead and give me my truck? And she says, our computers are down, so we can't access the reservations. And she goes, but I can take your name down, and if you would like to wait, we will process it in the order in which you came here. And I said, well, how many people are in front of me? She said, there are 15 people ahead of me. And then I said, how long am I anticipated to wait? She said, between 3 and 4 hours. To which I said I could walk to my hotel in that time.
Yeah.
Which is literally, I could walk to it in my hotel. So I told her, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and cancel it. I'm going to catch an Uber. Right. And she goes, no problem. Just to let you know, no refunds if you prepaid for it. And I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No problem.
I know you can take the reservation.
Yeah.
You can pay for the reservation.
But you can't cancel the reservation.
You can't cancel the reservation. And then I said, well, that doesn't seem very fair. I wanted a truck. And you don't have
efficiency was being punished for their computer system.
So then she goes, if you really want to get a refund, this is exactly what she said to me. If you really want to get a refund, call your credit card company and dispute the charge, because we will not refund you.
That's illegal, but okay.
So
someone at budget is going to jail now.
I don't know if that's but she just was like, we're not going to refund you, but if you dispute it, they'll refund that.
Or you could rob a bank.
And not disputed as fraud, but disputed as the merchant never gave the item.
I see.
Yeah. Not a fraud, Jeff. Come on now.
Not a lie. You don't have to be a criminal.
Yeah, you don't want to do all that. So anyway, hopefully I get my $99.37 back, because that's what it was plus the tax. But where was I going with this?
For you.
Where was I going with this? Oh, ATL, not a fan. But that was my Jerry Seinfeld moment. That was my real life Seinfeld moment of going to the rental car place, having a reservation, and then not getting the rental car.
That was my Elaine Bennis moment just now, watching The English Patient, as you told that very long story.
You don't like The English Patient? Now let me now bring it back to Clue. Which game piece character would have the easiest time convincing one of the budget people to give them a car? Who would be the most convincing?
Wadsworth. Well, he's not a game piece.
He's not a game piece.
For the accent. Oh, well, who's running the store? Yeah. Well, I don't actually probably matter. It's probably Miss Scarlet.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Charming,
Oh yeah.
pretty.
Either way
You know
you
what I
slice
mean?
it. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you need or what you like. She'll get that. She's gonna get a refund.
She'll figure it out. Right.
And the car. And she will
Danielle,
jump Danielle to Scarlet as well.
Danielle says Scarlet. Suzanne says Scarlet.
Yeah, it's
D Legend
Yvette, yeah.
91 says Scarlet. And then,
No, D
oh
Legend
no, he
says
said Yvette. I'm sorry.
Yvette. Yeah.
And then Mara Joy 89 says Miss
Yeah.
Scarlet for sure. She would flirt her way out of anything.
For
And then
sure.
Taylor Namaho said I was going to thinking Scarlet too. So that's
Yeah.
we're 100% in agreement here. It's absolutely Miss Scarlet. 100%.
Good. I'm glad we got that settled. I would have been very sad if we ended the show, the last show. I'll be lying in bed tonight going, well, I think we covered it. Oh no. Car rental. We need to do a bonus. Just
Now-
let me on the air for 5 minutes. I need to tell everybody, but Scarlett's the answer.
Yeah, and Taylor said she was thinking Scarlet too, and she said she's the hottest out of the characters.
Hey, Taylor.
That's what Taylor said.
Right. Taylor's not
Jeff, do
Yeah,
you still, because now we've had almost 100 episodes or over 100 episodes to think about this. Are you still where you were when we think about the guiltiest to the least guilty?
Oh, well, no.
You've changed.
I've changed a lot in the last 2 years, and I've changed a lot from the silly fact giving co-host that I was on the first episode. That was the fun thing about listening to the first one. It was so informative.
Really?
It was very informative. We talked about how the board game became a movie and how it was Deborah Hill's idea and how she got everybody together. And it was like, oh, look at these guys. Who do we think we are? John Hatch? Giving it like actual information and not going off on, I don't even think that I didn't finish the whole thing, but I don't think we were doing tangents at the time. So that's my tangent on the first episode of the Clue podcast. Who's the guiltiest? Well, I think we both started saying it was Professor Plum because he was just so
creepy.
Creeps McGee. But I think I have changed now to Mrs. White because I think there's a lot going on that we never even know. I think, and maybe that's presumptuous of me. Maybe I shouldn't think that because she denies everything, but that's also why she's also bad news too. She doesn't admit it until the very end that she killed Yvette, but she doesn't admit to anything else. But
No.
I think she's pretty bad news.
So I think
murder is as bad as it gets.
I think it goes this, and tell me if you agree. I think it goes
Okay.
White, then Plum,
Okay.
then Mustard.
Yeah. War Profiteer.
Then Mustard. I don't know, because War Profiteer is kind of like a murderer too, though, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of our men die because their radios didn't work properly.
So wait a minute.
That's what Peacock says.
Is Mustard
She
then
hates
not the
Mustard.
worst?
He's also
caused the most death.
And he's making military people die. And we
Right.
like military people in America.
Duh.
Yeah. Support our troops. He did not. So that's pretty bad. Ooh. And then Peacock was just taking bribes, but that could have been bad news for people. What's she afraid of? Fate worse than death?
But to me, okay, a bribe, yeah, maybe you're influencing some legislation, right?
Yeah.
But it's not and it could be to the level of being a war profiteer. But for me, now I'm rethinking this. I think it's Mustard.
Number one.
Mustard, 1.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's White, 2. Then I'm going to go with Plum, 3, Peacock, 4.
Yeah.
Scarlet, 5, and then Mr. Green.
Mr. Green, we don't even know what it is.
No, but let's just go off of what he said it was.
He hasn't done anything then.
He's done nothing wrong. I don't know. I think Mustard's the new number 1.
Okay. Is anybody in the chat giving opinions on this.
We have some opinions here. So we're gonna go with Josh Hurley first, who says, not to throw a wrench in things, but wouldn't the stranded motorist plead for the refund? He did make his way into the mansion after all.
I
Would he be
guess
the
if he
best
came
with the
in
refund?
looking sad and wet.
Yeah. Matthew Ryan says Mrs. White is the only answer, although Mustard's actions did cause Airman to die. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like Mustard's number one now. John Hatch is here, and John Hatch says, people keep calling me during this show, and I know this isn't like a normal time, for me to do something, but like I have people like blowing me up this whole time. Not that I just feel like, can I not have this hour? Anyway, John Hatch says there's so
Humble
many
brag.
tangents in the book.
Humble brag, by the way. Let me
Not,
check my phone. Nope, no one.
but not even people who like. Never mind. John Hatch says there's so many tangents in the book, and my editor said no. Why are you talking about Agatha Christie and the Goonies? I probably had a Seinfeld tangent in there too. Well, you know what, John? Shout out to you for having an editor because they're really nice.
that was smart. Yeah,
it's a good idea. It's a good idea. You know what? I will say this because this is our final episode. This is a nice little tease. Jeff helped me on an upcoming book project that we'll be releasing in 2025 that I sent off for edit today. So, I mean, it is finished.
Nice.
It is completed. And
Good.
Jeff Smith has a contribution in there. And I will just say, because I don't think I can say it yet, which is kind of silly, but I've been told don't say it yet. But if you know me and you know the iconography that I enjoy and inhabit and talk about a lot, you know what I mean? There's might be something that people might want to pick up. That might be like a better something than a different something that I had at a time. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. What are you reading over there, Jeff? Oh, it's interesting. Oh, yeah. I'm not familiar with that
We're
one.
just waiting for you to finish your little.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anyway,
mysterious thing.
Sorry about that. You know what I mean?
John Hatch had tangents in his book. Good for you. That's why we're all friends.
Seinfeld seasons. It goes what? 4, 5,
for best
3,
reasons.
4, 5, 3, 2, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's mine.
Oh wow.
That's off the top.
Okay.
Because the Seinfeld seasons are like in
last.
3 sets. It's like 1 to 3 is like a very
They're
like certain era.
Definitely.
And then 4 to 6 is a very certain era. And then 7 to 9 is a very certain version of the show.
I don't know if I would go by season, but I definitely would go by era.
Okay, so 4, 5, 6 is the best era.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We agree. And then 1, 2, 3.
When Larry David leaves, we're in trouble.
Not that it's not
It
good.
just becomes
It's
a different
different.
show.
It's a different show.
Then it becomes a cartoon.
It's a much different show.
Fun cartoon.
Okay, Danielle Brennan, which that's actually one of the great episodes. Danielle Brennan says Colonel Mustard, Plum, White. Oh wow, Plum 2, White 3, Peacock, Scarlet, and Green doesn't count. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that Scarlet and Green. It's like okay, I mean,
right.
I mean, nowadays Scarlet would be running an OnlyFans, right? I mean, it was like not something that we would even bat an eye at.
Yeah, she would not have to have a cop on payroll because
she would not have to have a cop on payroll.
No.
This is not. By the way, though, drove to Austin yesterday, past LaGrange, which is where not only the ZZ Top record, but that's the city where they had the chicken ranch that was based on the best little whorehouse in Texas, which was a House of Ill fame as well. Have you ever seen the best little whorehouse in Texas?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Dolly Parton, Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise.
Yeah.
And we talked about, I think we've talked about Best Little Whorehouse in Texas on the show before, because Dom DeLuise, his character was based on Marvin Zindler, who was the Slime in the Ice Machine guy.
Slime in the Ice Machine.
Yeah.
That's
Slime in the Ice Machine.
It is the title of one of the episodes of this very podcast.
Did I make it the title?
You did. You did make it the title.
Remember we had the slime choir?
Yeah.
And amazing. Amazing. If you lived in Houston during that time, what a time to be alive. Let's see. Suzanne Knudsen says definitely Mustard for what he did during the war. See,
Okay.
I'm getting some people on
You've
my
got-
side here. Ben Ripley says, I'm still with Mrs. White, murders and extramarital affairs. Well,
Yeah. And Ben's vote actually counts for
yes.
2, I've decided. Because Ben has not only been a guest on Clue the Movie podcast, but he also appears in Whodunit, the Clue documentary. So he gets a little extra something, I say.
A little extra. You know what I
And
mean?
the fact that he agrees with me doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to our next one. This comes from Matthew Ryan says, John Hatch, I'm the biggest Agatha Christie fan. I think if you're a fan of Clue the Movie podcast, you're probably Agatha Christie fan, right?
Or if you aren't, if you find something Agatha Christie, you will probably like it. And you'll see you'll see similarities backwards. You'll see, if you've seen Clue and then go watch some Agatha Christie things, I would recommend starting with And Then There Were None, because that's pretty Clue-ish, going backwards. It's kind of like when you watch something that you go, oh, that's from that.
Yeah.
But you watch it. It's kind of like
you see a lot of
the
themes.
Star Wars prequels first, and then go, oh, that's what.
Well, like with Agatha Christie, we went and saw, I think it was called The Murder of Roger Ackroyd or something like that, at the Alley Theater here in Houston, which was Agatha Christie's story, they said. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely very Clue-ish, just in the setup and the setting and the way they talk, and there's a lot there that's very Cluey. Very, very Cluey. Let's see, do we have another one here? Kevin says, can we live stream and chat the new podcast all the time? This is so fun. Oh, Pick 6, is he saying? Should we live stream Pick 6? That's interesting.
Every time. That's logistics.
Interesting. We'll think about it. That's something to think about for sure. Yeah. So Jeff.
Yeah.
So Jeff, what do you think about this show? What do you think? Because here's the thing. I remember texting you. I was actually in a car with my buddy, and we were driving somewhere. We were crossing train tracks. I remember this vividly. And I texted you, hey, what do you think about a Clue podcast where we break it down a minute at a time? Yes. Are you familiar with the minute by minute format? I think you said, sounds good or something like that.
Oh, I was very into it then.
Yeah. You're like, sounds good. Let's do it.
Obviously, a lot was going on at the time. I will say I did find, I kind of went back also. I was very, very nostalgic today. And I know that as far as I could find the messages of yours that I keep,
which should be all of them.
Not a lot, because most of them are join me on StreamYard. But so I have a lot of those in the archives. It was August, so the idea, it took a while to get that first one knocked out. So it was August, and you and maybe you'll shed light on this. You said, I'm going to email a friend of mine that does this or knows about it.
Okay.
And then you forwarded me that person's email, and then that kind of explained it. But I thought at the beginning that each of our episodes was going to be 1 minute long.
Yeah.
So I thought we were just going to watch it in real time, talk about it while it's playing, and then when the clip's over, we're done. And I thought, oh, cool. That'll take an afternoon. We'll just basically watch Clue in an hour and 97 minutes, talk throughout the whole thing, and then you'll chop it up, and that's it. Not much of a commitment at all. And then I think maybe even on the day, like, no, that's you goose. That's not how we do it. That's not how this works at all. Why would we have a minute-long podcast?
You goose.
You goose? Why would you do that? Like, oh, we can talk more. Okay. And then I thought, after the first one, which was so informative, I think I probably gave away most of what I knew in the very first few, because it was just credits, much like this.
Yeah.
every little nugget of info that I knew came out. And then I remember thinking before each one, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And luckily, we stopped staying on topic. And that just then it became like, oh, it's my weekly phone call with my friend that just we record. And at some point, we will have to talk about Clue. But if he saw Joker, we'll talk about Joker.
Right.
And if he's spent inordinate amount of time in the Atlanta airport, we'll talk about that. And then it'll be that, and that's fine because I could always use a friend to talk to, and the timing was good too because I had been living in Massachusetts for a little bit. I didn't know anybody here, and now I'm back. Didn't know anybody here, and so really the days were long, and the timing was really good, and so then it just became like something to keep doing, and it definitely, to be serious for a second, it definitely would lift my spirits. It became something I looked forward to doing, and not even thinking that anybody was going to listen to it. It was just okay because you, God bless you, do all the work. You every once in a while I would remind you, hey, we need to do one. But for the most part, you would say, okay, we're running out. If we like banked a few, then like, hey, we're getting close. And then, you edit. Well, there's no editing, but you put it together and, add the clip and add the music and all that. So the work, Brad does all the work. I just show up and think, I don't know how we're going to talk for 30 minutes. And then we talk for 45. And I usually think, oh, I could have said more like this. And if we weren't doing another one right after this, I would be very sad today, to be honest. I'm very sad that is over. I mean, it is the end of an era as far as I'm sure Clue will come up again. But, this is the last, I did 2 years after I thought once the documentary was done. And also, by the way, the weird thing about listening to the first episode of this podcast, documentary hadn't even come out yet. I talked to you about how like 7 people have seen this, and you're the only one that I'm not like related to or living with that has seen it. I sent you a link.
I remember.
I totally forgotten about that because it didn't come out to streaming for like another almost year after that. So there was a lot of Clue, and then I thought when Clue was done, we kept doing this, and now there doesn't need to be any more Clue, but that's okay because there will be other things.
We'll have other movies, to talk about. Yeah, I will be honest with you. So I found the text. Here's the text. Hey, have you ever thought of doing a Clue themed podcast? I think there would be a huge audience for it, and it might help get the documentary exposure. Maybe one of those by the minute podcasts, and we could get a good run out of it. If that's something you'd ever be interested in, I'd love to assist. And then I sent you pictures of me at the live version of Clue in Houston. Yeah. And then I said the live show was excellent, by the way. This is all within, I text you at 10:04 p.m. So I must have just watched the show. So I've got this wrong.
You were inspired.
I just must have watched the show. And I sent you a link, and you responded an hour and a half later and said, very cool. A Clue podcast, interesting idea. And then I responded the next day.
Non-committal.
I responded the next day. And again, this is when I was on the train tracks. I said, yeah, man, a Clue podcast could be real fun to do. Let me know if you have any interest in maybe we could set up a meeting and talk more about it. Just a thought. And I thought it could help. I don't know what that meant. And then you didn't say anything back. And so I was obviously really jazzed about this idea. So I text you back a day and a half later.
I didn't respond to that? Oh, my God.
No, I said, let me know what you think. I'd be down to do it. I'm really high on the idea. Now, by the way, again, guys, Jeff and I had one conversation before this.
Yeah.
Just one talk. Now, you heard it. That was the first time we ever talked to one another. And then your response was this. Yeah. To quote George Costanza, I am down. And then you said, just let me know what we need to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was it.
That's better than sounds good. Let me apologize for not responding right away. But obviously, Seinfeld must have come up during the Back to the Future podcast if I
It
was
must
throwing
have.
out a Costanza line.
It must
I am
have.
down.
And this is funny too. So then I responded and said, "Are you familiar with the minute by minute format? I think it could be a great way to go. Or we can do it similar to my Back to the Future podcast, but we don't give away too much of your doc before it's out. Minute by minute could be interesting. And we could pre-tape pretty easy, 97 episodes." And I said, LOL with the laughing emoji. And then
Yeah.
your response was, "Minute by minute sounds good."
I had no idea what I was talking about. No idea. Because,
Oh,
well, now I do, because I did think, oh,
it's pretty funny.
minute by minute, 1
Pretty
minute
funny, man.
podcast.
Pretty funny, man.
I had
So
no idea
that's
what I
the
was
story.
talking about.
That's how we got here.
Yeah. And we'll just record them. It'll take no time at all.
I really thought, I was like, okay, 97. I said, if we
Yeah.
keep these to about 10 to 15 minutes each,
Yeah.
we could get this done in a couple. This is really what I was thinking. I was like, we can get this done in a couple months, and I'll just pre-tape them. Because remember, at first we pre-taped like the first 10
Yeah.
before we
did a
started
bunch. I
dropping
think the short ones are pretty short too. But
Yeah.
maybe that's why this was all discussed in August and they didn't come out to Halloween, because we were banking them. Okay.
We were taping them, and I'm like, okay, we can just get real ahead of the game. My idea was we tape all these, and then I schedule them all out, and we're good for like 2 years. I know I don't have to do any more work. Let's
Right.
just get it
One
done.
of us could die and the show goes on.
Show lives on.
No
You know
one
what I
needs
mean?
to
But we
know.
made
And
it.
at the end, oh, Jeff passed away actually 9 months ago.
That would have been pretty unfortunate. But like this
would be.
show also made me learn so much more about this movie that I had no idea about. It's
Yeah.
now in my rotation. People starting to know me as a Clue guy. Like now, if stuff happens Clue related, people who are friends of mine will just text me a link to the story or text me
Yeah.
a thing about, look at this new Funko Pop or whatever it might be, or piece of merchandise. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. Yeah. I guess I'm now like
Sure.
associated with Clue in the same way it was Back to the Future. And then getting to know you has been a lot of fun, man. And funny that we have this, in this Venn diagram of our lives, so much overlaps of interest wise that we can, poke and prod at. And then next thing you know, you're on a plane to Houston, Texas, staying in my
Yeah.
guest bedroom and meeting Doc
Yep.
and Marty.
Yep. That would not have happened if we just did 60-second episodes.
No,
Or
never,
short.
never would have happened. And now we got pick 6 on the horizon, which will,
Yeah.
definitely stay tuned to talk about what we're getting to pick 6. And we have a couple more chats. If you want me to read them, can I read these?
Please. Yeah.
This is from Kevin Skinninger again, who says, did someone else have a Clue Minute podcast planned at some point? I seem to remember seeing a Twitter handle or something years ago. Not that I know of, but
Maybe.
hey, great minds, right?
Yeah.
The
That
next
makes
one.
sense.
Next one says, Matthew Ryan says, agree, Brad does all the work. Well, someone's got to
Yeah.
bring something to this show.
I would like to point out there's 2 laughing emojis after that. So, but yeah, I mean, you don't have to listen too long to know who's the radio guy and who's just the wise ass that logs on. And
The documentarian.
yeah,
Thank you very much.
the one. That's true.
Suzanne Knudsen said, I'm so glad my Clue Facebook group posted about your podcast. Well, I'm glad that they did too. Shout out to them. Oh, and she says, because I wouldn't have known about this. I'm very happy that they did that.
Checks out.
Danielle says, I just started re-listening to the podcast. God bless you. 2 weeks ago when you mentioned this live event. It's very interesting and enjoyable to re-listen to. Well, that's nice. People like to re-listen to it.
I know. I'm going to start.
Caleb Blade the Geek said, definitely going to miss those Clue Mondays. Got me through some tough times as of late. And even on the best of days was a real treat. Looking forward to pick 6. Yeah, please go subscribe to pick 6 if you haven't already. So we can, when that first episode drops, we're here and ready to go.
And he spelled it right. Pick 6.
And he spelled it
P-I-C-S-I-X.
This one comes from Josh Hurley. Thanks, gents, for such a great show. I'm such a huge Clue fan. And man, this was just a delight. Love the format and minute by minute for one of the best films out there. Amazing. Great conversations and analysis, question mark. Those were that was one of my favorite recipes. This is one of my favorite recipes. Thanks again. Much success. Shabooms to you both. Who done it? You both did. First of all, great conversations and analysis, question mark.
And
Should be on a coffee
analysis,
mug.
yeah, like
You know what I loved? I always
sometimes.
love when John Hatch would come on the show and he'd start talking, and I go, "Oh man, I don't know anything about this movie."
Oh yeah, John Hatch is very good. I mean, if we have said a million times, if you just want to watch, and the the only thing that's different about really the documentary than this podcast is just Brad's not in it because I haven't met him yet. So that's pretty much the only difference. It's still this weirdo driving around, a lot of driving shots, because I don't like to sit and look at the camera directly like this, and then interviews. But if you want to actually know what happened, read the book. Now, listen to the audiobook because John went through the great.
Oh my
Gosh, I can't even imagine.
Nope.
What it must be to read your own stuff, even if it's great, just to go through that process.
Well, I know how much I dislike writing.
Right.
So reading my writing, I would not enjoy that.
And I would not want to hear myself and edit myself, even though I'm joking about listening to the podcast again. One of the reasons it took me so long to edit Whodunit the Clue documentary, is because I would be watching the raw footage of these interviews and I would hear myself asking questions and I would just start screaming at the screen going, "You're stupid. That's the dumbest question ever." Or I'd be like, making fun of myself asking the question, and then I have to stop and walk away and like, why is Michael McKean even, he's so nice. Why is he listening to me go on and on about whatever I asked him about?
Right. Yeah. Shout out to John and
John has
everybody,
a lovely voice. So I would
and
love
everybody
to hear
who's been a part of this. We have a couple more that I'm going to read, and then we'll get close to wrapping up here, Jeff. Catherine Giddens said, "I found this podcast in June of 2024. I loved it so much that I abandoned all other podcasts to get caught up. Thanks for keeping it clean and fun." There you go.
We kept
We're
it
very
clean.
clean.
Jeffrey Kramer had a little bit of potty mouth, but
A little bit.
that's all right. That's all right.
This
He's a
is
Jaws. He can do whatever he wants.
from D Legend 91. That's a great Scott observation about the Clue effect. And you know what?
I knew it. Yes, it has to happen.
Can I get a great Scott here? Great Scott moment of the week. Can I get a great Scott?
Great Scott. There he is.
We had to have it. We had to have it in there. Danielle Brennan. Go ahead.
I was going to say, is there anything else we need to do a callback for finale? We did Seinfeld. We did a Great Scott. We did
Back to the Future. We
definitely
did
Back to the
before
Future.
we get to this minute.
Yeah, that's in there.
You didn't have a pro wrestling name in my little chat today.
Oh yeah, sometimes when I would come up with a wrestling name, I'm stuck. Oh, I'm watching the Vince McMahon documentary though.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, Booker's in it.
Booker is in it, and
I probably don't need to tell you that. You know that.
Very well dressed, by the way.
Oh, he looks great. Not everybody does. Not everybody does, but Booker T, everybody.
Just the man, the myth, the legend.
Co-host of Brian Gilmore's wrestling show,
the Hall of Fame podcast. So, what are you gonna? What is your wrestling nickname?
Oh, today, you know what? I'm. Oh, what was your word the other day that now I hear everywhere?
Word.
The word for second to last. What that sounds like?
Penultimate.
Penultimate. I've heard it almost every day of my life since you said it. I never heard it in my entire life, and now I hear it. I've heard it every day. I was watching a YouTube video and it said, and here, some English accent doing a countdown show because they all have to have English accents. And here, this penultimate. I'm like, holy moly, we keep it clean. Holy moly, there's that word that. Right. So I'm a big fan of the Penultimate Warrior. So I don't know. I think I found my last wrestling name.
The Penultimate Warrior is great. That's a great one. Danielle
second
Brennan
on the
says,
spot.
question, favorite all-time line from the film? Second question, line you wish they left out.
Ooh. Favorite line. Probably something that's not like a great line. It's probably something that I think every Cluvian has something that they quote
Oh,
in just normal life, and people don't know that they're doing it, but they know that they're doing it. I know there's a lot of weird movies that I quote, and then sometimes I forget that I'm quoting it. I just know it's something that I say, and then I'll see the movie again and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm quoting Dana Carvey from Trapped in Paradise."
I've had that too, where I have the quote, I don't even know where it came from, and then it pops up in the movie.
Let's just go. That's from Trapped in Paradise. It's in the trailer too. If you don't believe me, you can watch Trapped in Paradise. So for Clue, is there anything?
My favorite line that I would say is it's more of the sequence. He threatened to kill me in public. You know, why would he threaten to kill you in public? No, he threatened in public to kill her. Like, I like that. That's always been
Comments are good. I think mine, and it's funny because he's not my favorite character, but I think it's my favorite line just because how dark it is. And it's just checking. Everything all right? Yep. 2 corpses. Everything's fine.
That's a good
one.
one.
That just kind of sums up the movie. It's like, yep, just 2. Still good. No one else is dead. But boy, one of the joys and that I wish more people could watch the podcast is watching Brad Gilmore watch Colonel Mustard fall down or bump into things or hit his head on something, because we'll watch the clip. We watch the clip, the 60 seconds before we start. And usually we're not talking through it. We just are watching it. And then I'll just see Brad's shoulders go, and like he'll fall back into his seat, lean back. That's it. And it's always when Colonel Mustard fall down, go boom.
Yeah, it's always love those
Every
ones.
time.
As far as a line to be left
smile
out,
a lot, but line to be left out.
The Hoover joke.
Hoover, yeah. Yeah, I guess.
That's the only one I can come up with. Let's see what else we have here. We just have a few more, and then we're gonna have to wrap this up. You know, I actually am going to be live here on YouTube as well with the Hall of Fame podcast here shortly. So anyway,
keep that Brad Gilmore going if you want more Brad. He's gonna keep going.
Kevin said Clue Minute joined in 2017 in Twitter. Okay. Well, hey, guess what? They didn't follow through. You know what I mean? He didn't follow through.
Was it? Did I make that? I didn't even know what it was in 2017. 2017. Interesting. That's when I started working on the documentary, actually. But I'm surprised that I didn't find that. Did Clue Minute post anything, Kevin?
Let's look.
In 2017.
Let's look.
Or Brad, do you have a computer?
Clue Minute. Oh, it's like Clue Minute. Wow, you know what? I mean, they were doing something. So it says, oh, look, those are my DMs. You don't need to see that. I
saw your DMs.
Why is
what a text.
It says Clue
Minute, the podcast. Yeah.
Clue Minute podcast.
Following one person.
Somebody was going to do it. Look, Clue Minute. Oh, look at that. I have a green screen.
Ooh, and it's green.
Why is it doing that? There we go. Okay. Boom, I don't have a green screen. Oh, wait. Oops.
Well, now you're in the newsroom.
Come on, man.
We got it.
This is just terrible. Here we go. This says Clue Minute podcast. Somebody was going to do it, and they didn't follow through. Had 61 followers and was following one person, and the person they were following was the Better Off Dead Minute podcast.
Oh, I'd listen to that too.
Look at that. Very interesting. Very interesting.
And now I'd like you to go. Remember, Juniper has to come on. Don't forget. Did they do anything with the Better Off Dead podcast?
It looks like the Better Off Dead podcast was around. Let's read a few more of these and then we'll get Juniper on. This comes from Taylor Namaho. Do you know what the pick 6 is going to be about? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff's going to pick 6 movies. I'm going to pick 6 movies, both of which either we both haven't seen them or more likely, one of us hasn't seen them. We watch it and we kind of do a discussion similar to this, where we talk about what we like, dislike, some background on the movie, maybe even have somebody involved in the film on the podcast with us. You never know. You know what I mean? I got plans because everybody knows the first one I'm going with, which is 1996, is The Phantom, starring Billy Zane,
It is.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Christy Swanson. Which, by the way, I gotta say, 96 Christy Swanson, like all time stunner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All
Well,
time
did you say
stunner.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is in there too?
Yeah, 96. Like 96.
Oh,
I know.
yeah. And Billy Zane,
And Billy
96?
Zane in
Billy
96.
Zane with
Come on,
hair?
man. This is Apex Mountain. This is
Oh
Apex
boy.
Mountain for all
That's
of them.
an embarrassment of wealth.
So that podcast is
Of
available
riches.
on all of your podcast apps. Go ahead and subscribe to it so you can make sure you check out the first episode. DL Legend or D Legend 91 says, I think I messed up in sending a clue discussion question / observation to the contact email address instead of through the Clue Facebook. Well, then Jeff would have gotten that. So maybe it
I
didn't
might
go
have.
through.
But look, you already know how good I am at answering things. I did
Let's
respond to Barry
see.
Gilmore for a day and a half.
Here we go. We're going to read a couple more and then get Juniper on. James, this is Laker Jim, says, it's been fun, interesting ride. Monday commutes won't be the same without you guys. Thanks for letting me be a small part of it. Hope to have you on 5 Minutes of Fletch coming soon.
Oh.
Oh. Do we watch
So
Fletch 5 minutes at a time? Is that
That's
what we're
efficient.
doing?
So Laker Jim has the Fletch cast, which is excellent. I have appeared kind of on the Fletch cast. I had a question that was answered. My voicemail was featured.
There you go. Well, the Fletch podcast is how I found out about you and your documentary.
Yeah.
Which is what brought us together.
Laker Jim.
So, okay, that's pretty much all. Oh, no, here we go. One more question. Says, if you could pick a character to play in the movie, who would you pick? It has to be someone you are confident you would do a good job at playing.
Okay. I think we've done this because I know my answer right away. It's the motorist.
Oh, yeah. That's a great.
That's as good as I could do.
I'm gonna go with
I
Body.
would love to be Wadsworth, but come on.
Yeah, I can't pull that off. I'll go with Mr. Body. I feel like I could pick that up.
Oh yeah, and he's very well dressed, which you are as well. So you would have like the cool shoes and the gift wrapped weapons, and I would just come in wet and with a broken car.
Wet and broken car. We got Zach who's here. What's up, Zach? Heading home from work.
Zach.
Need to catch up. Had to check in with you guys. What's going on, Zach, man?
Zach.
And then Kevin says, I finally need to watch Fletch. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, before we wrap this up, we got to bring Juniper on. What are we asking Juniper?
We were asking Juniper, to do pulp versions of Clue.
Okay, so just come up with a pulp version of Clue movie.
Yeah.
So we're bringing Juniper up here.
Welcome
see if
back,
she's gonna...
Juniper.
Hi, Juniper. Are you here? Can you hear us?
Loud and clear. What's up?
Hey, Juniper. Welcome back to Clue the Movie Podcast. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. How about you? How have you been?
You know what? I've been lovely. And Jeff is lovely. We're actually doing the final episode of Clue the Movie Podcast. How does that make you feel?
Wow, the final episode. It's a bit bittersweet, but I'm honored to be part of it. This podcast has been such a fun journey through the world of Clue, and I'm excited to be here for its grand finale. What's on the agenda?
Well, look, I'll tell you what's on the agenda. I'll tell you what's on the agenda, Juniper. Okay, wait your turn. All right, I appreciate you, but wait your turn. What we're going to ask Juniper is, can you come up with a pulp version story for Clue the movie based around it or whatever you want to do, but something about that.
Got it.
Got it. All right, picture this. Clue the Midnight Murders. The story unfolds in a shadowy noir setting. Our beloved characters, Colonel Mustard, Miss Scarlet, Professor Plum, Mrs. White, and Mrs. Peacock, are reimagined as gritty, hard-boiled archetypes. The setting? A decrepit mansion on the outskirts of a rain-soaked city. where our characters have been lured under mysterious circumstances. The power's out, the doors are locked, and the body count starts to rise. Each character harbors a dark secret, and it's clear one of them is a cold-blooded killer. It's a race against time as the remaining guests unravel clues, navigate double crosses, and dodge danger at every turn. Will they catch the murderer before becoming victims themselves? It's Clue meets classic pulp fiction with a dark, suspenseful twist. Who do you think would be the prime suspect in this version?
Oh, what do you think of that, Jeff? What is your feedback to Juniper?
Juniper.
Let's hear it, Jeff. I'm here. What's
I don't like her. Oh, no, she scares me. Who's the suspect? I think, Juniper, you are the suspect.
me, the suspect? Now that's a twist. I guess I better keep an eye on my alibi. But hey, in a mystery as dark as this, anyone could have a hidden agenda, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, Juniper. That's a little frightening. It's hitting a little too close to home. All right, with you
She
thinking about an
immediately
alibi.
went for an alibi right away. Oh,
But
boy.
Juniper, let me ask. Can I ask you another question?
Of course. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay,
What's on your mind?
I'll tell you what's on my mind. But what do you think of Jeff Smith, the director of Clue, of Whodunit, the Clue documentary? What is your thoughts about him?
Jeff Smith? He's a talented filmmaker, no doubt. Directing a documentary like Whodunit, the Clue documentary, takes a deep understanding of the original film and its legacy, and he's managed to capture that essence. His work shines a light on what makes Clue such a cult classic, with a perfect blend of humor, mystery, and intrigue. What's not to admire?
Well, okay, you know what? That was lovely. Now let me lay a little on me. What do you think of Brad Gilmore and him being the host of Clue the Movie podcast along with Jeff Smith?
Brad Gilmore? He's a fantastic host. Brad brings a real passion and energy to the podcast, which makes each episode engaging and fun. His knowledge of Clue and its nuances adds a lot of depth to the discussions, and his dynamic with Jeff is spot on. It's clear he's got a genuine love for the movie and enjoys sharing that with the fans.
Look at that. Well, you know what, Juniper, you have been the third host here on Clue the Movie podcast. What is being a part of this podcast over the last several months meant to you personally?
Being a part of Clue the Movie podcast has been an absolute blast for me. It's been such a joy to dive into the world of Clue, exploring its layers, its humor, and its enduring charm with such passionate fans. The chance to share insights, swap theories, and celebrate this cult classic alongside Jeff and Brad has been a real highlight. It's like being part of a big, enthusiastic family that truly loves a good whodunit.
Well, Juniper, thank you for joining us on the finale of Clue the Movie podcast. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor and a whole lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for both of you and the Clue community. Until next time, keep solving those mysteries.
Now, come on, man. Juniper with an all-time appearance
Oh,
on
don't
Clue the Movie
trust her.
podcast finale.
Don't trust her at all.
She went right to well, I guess I need an alibi.
Sure
Because
did.
that is Skynet. Make no mistake about it.
Oh, yeah. I was never there. I want to know what her alibi would be. What does an AI alibi? Oh, wait a minute. You can't spell alibi without AI.
Oh, you can't. You got an A and an I. They're not right next to each other, but you got an A.
Then it's
and you
the
got an
beginning.
I.
It's the end. It's alibi.
First of all, I'm offended that she said the Clue community and not the Cluvians.
It hasn't
But,
caught on in the AI world yet.
Well, Jeff, here it
Yeah.
is, man. We're wrapping this thing up. We want to shout out to all the fans of this podcast. God bless your souls for enduring these 2 years of shows with us. What do you have to say though, Jeff? I mean, do you have any final words for everybody here?
Oh boy, what's left to say? Did we talk about which Clue character would do the best getting her rental car
Yes, we
refund.
got to
Good.
that.
Okay. Well, then, okay, that was the most important part. I had that written down somewhere. Um, uh, just thank you. I was pleasantly surprised to meet Clue fans doing the documentary, and then I've been pleasantly surprised to find more that hadn't even seen the documentary that came to us from the podcast. So I'm just happy to meet everybody, and it's cool that to make new friends this way, and of course one of my very good friends now, Mr. Brad Gilmore. That'll be my big takeaway. This has been one of my favorite things in the past few years that I look forward to. So I'm that's it. That's all I got. Speechless after that.
Well, I will say this, and this is in all sincerity. One of the reasons I love Back to the Future so much is because it's really a movie about moments and how one decision can change the course and the trajectory of your life. And it's very simple. And I think we all play that butterfly effect game in our head of like, if I didn't do this, then I wouldn't have met this person, then I wouldn't have done that thing, and I wouldn't have met this person. It's something that I've thought about so much in my life, and that's why I love Back to the Future. It's a movie about choices, and the fact that for some reason I saw the Clue documentary pop up on my Instagram or Twitter feed and go, there's a Clue documentary? This sounds awesome. Going to the website, cold emailing Jeff, saying, "Will you come on the podcast to talk, about your documentary?" And then it's morphed into this. And like you said, to meet so many people and to know John Hatch or to know Ben Ripley or Lena, who was on our show, Laker Jim, who's been on, and just to have this little sense of community and like to have people who want to just come on and have fun and listen to us talk about absolutely nothing and everything all at the same time. It's been great, man. And I really do, Jeff, consider you a friend. And like I told you before, you always have a spot here in the H if you ever want to rest your head, or you and the lady want to come out and enjoy our 11 and a half months of summer. You're always available to do so. Just don't come on New Year's. That's the one day we get cold. But it's been great, man. And again, my love for Clue has grown through this. Clue went from a film that I liked a lot to now a film that I've loved and continue to love. And it's one of the most rewatchable movies I think there's ever been. And it's up there with now my 85 Trident is what I actually, here's a quick name drop. I had an interview with Kevin Smith the other day, and I told him about the 85 Trident of Back to the Future, Fletch, and Clue the movie. And then he went on and told me why he loves Fletch so much. But it's just been so much fun to have this run. And so, Jeff, I thank you for accepting the invitation and deciding to go on this crazy journey with some dude who you had no idea who he was until he emailed you.
Sorry again for taking so long to respond.
And thank you for finally responding. But
Yes.
to our Cluvians, thank you so much. Please continue on with us in Pick Six because we're still going to be having fun. It won't be talking about Clue a minute at a time, but it'll be talking about some other movies that we're really passionate about and love. You can find more about Jeff Smith. Where can people reach you, Jeff?
Oh, well, let's move off from Clue documentary Instagram, and you can find me at the Jeff Smith movie guy on Instagram. Let's go over there for a change.
Jeff Smith movie guy on Instagram. You can find me on all social media at Brad Gilmore. And actually, I've just started a little website. The .com is taken, but you can go to bradgilmore.net for the time being and subscribe to the newsletter, check out the blogs. I'm going to be announcing stuff about book projects that I have coming up, some other projects that I'm working on, and that's where you'll also find Pick Six, which is already, if you go to podcast, you can see Pick Six on bradgilmore.net. So, Jeff, man, we did it. The finale. It's over.
We finished. Yeah. One ending.
Now,
that's all we needed. We just needed one. It's a long one, but it's one. Yes.
The question I'm going to leave you and the rest of the Clue audience with.
Oh.
Is this finale the Seinfeld finale or is it the Curb finale? That's going to be up for the listeners to decide what kind of finale this one was. But, Jeff, thank you, man, for these episodes. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Brad. It's been fun. See you on the next
we're not back next week with the next minute of Clue the movie. This is it. Everyone, we're signing off. Thank you so much for joining us. And until pick 6, I'm Brad Gilmore, the boat. That's Jeff Smith. Whodunit, the Clue documentary, cluedoc.com, bradgilmore.net. And we'll see you with pick 6 coming soon.
Thank you.